The individual who does not get rid of his pride will suffer. Pride is before a crash, and a haughty spirit before stumbling. PR 16. 18. And the house of the self-exalted ones Jehovah will tear down. PR 15. 25. There are a number of examples of the crash that proud individuals, dynasties, and nations have suffered. PR 26. 18, 19. 2ch 26. 16. Issa 13. 19. J 13. 9. Es 30. 6, 18. 32. 12. Dar 5. 22, 23, 30. Pride is deceptive. The Apostle Paul counsels. If anyone thinks he is something when he is nothing, he is deceiving his own mind. G 6. 3. The proud person seems to be taking the way most beneficial or profitable for him, but he is leaving God out of account. Compare J 49. 16. 3. 17. The Bible says, better is it to be lowly in spirit with the meek ones than to divide spoil with the self-exalted ones. PR 16. 19. Boasting. The Greek verb ko. My boast is used frequently in the sense of selfish pride. The Bible shows that no man has any ground for boasting in himself or his accomplishments. In the Christian congregation at Corinth, some were puffed up with pride in themselves or in other men, bringing about divisions in the congregation. They were thinking in a fleshly way, looking to men instead of to Christ. 1 Co 1. 10-13. 3. 4. These men were not interested in the congregation's spiritual welfare, but they wanted to boast in outward appearances, not really wanting to help fellow Christians develop good hearts before God. 2 Co 5. 12. Consequently, the Apostle Paul severely reproved the congregation, showing that there was no room for them to be boasting in anyone but Jehovah God and what he had done for them. 1 Co 1. 28, 29. 4. 6, 7. The rule was, he that boasts, let him boast in Jehovah. 1 Co 1. 31. 2 Co 10. 17. Jesus' half-brother James went even further in condemning those who boasted about certain worldly projects they were intending to carry out, telling them, you take pride in yourself, assuming brags. All such taking of pride is wicked. Just 4. 13-16. Compare PR 27. 1. A good connotation. The Hebrew word ah, the Greek word ko my, and their related forms are also used in a favorable sense with reference to pride or delight that arises from an action or possession. The psalmist spoke of Israel as the pride of Jacob, whom Jehovah has loved. PS 47. For in the restoration prophecy Isaiah said that the fruitage of the land would be something to be proud of. Issa 4. 2. The apostle told the Thessalonian congregation that, as a result of their faith, love, and endurance, we ourselves take pride in you among the congregations of God. 2th 1. 3, 4. Christians are proud that Jehovah is their God, that they have come to know him. O textoi acute miritra longo, priest 683 to place, building altars and making sacrifices to Jehovah at his various places of encampment. GE 14. 14. 12. 7, 8. 13. For God said of Abraham, I have become acquainted with him in order that he may command his sons and his household after him so that they shall keep Jehovah's way to do righteousness and judgment. GE 18. 19. Isaac and Jacob followed the same pattern. GE 26. 25. 31. 54. 35. 1-7, 14, and Job, a non-Israelite but likely a distant relative of Abraham, regularly offered sacrifices to Jehovah in behalf of his children, saying, maybe my sons have sinned and have cursed God in their heart. Job 1. 4, 5. See also 42. 8. However, the Bible does not specifically call these men Cohen or High Royus. On the other hand, Jethro, the family head and the father-in-law of Moses, is called a priest Hen of Midian. Acts 2. 16. 3. 1. 18. 1. Melchizedek king of Salem was a priest Hen extraordinary. The Bible gives no record of his ancestry, his birth, or his death. His priesthood was not by inheritance, and he had no predecessors or successors in office. Melchizedek held both the office of king and of priest. His priesthood was greater than the Levitical priesthood, for Levi, in effect, paid tithes to Melchizedek, since he was still in the loins of Abraham when Abraham offered tithes to Melchizedek and was blessed by him. GE 14. 18-20. Heb 7. 4-10. In these things Melchizedek foreshadowed Jesus Christ, the priest forever according to the manner of Melchizedek. Heb 7. 17. Evidently the family heads acted as priests among the offspring of Jacob Israel until the Levitical priesthood was established by God. Hence, when God led the people to Mount Sinai he commanded, "Let the priests also who regularly come near to Jehovah sanctify themselves, that Jehovah may not break out upon them." Acts 19. 22. This was before the Levitical priesthood was established. But Aaron, though not yet designated as priest, was allowed to go partially up the mountain with Moses. This circumstance harmonized with the later appointment of Aaron and his posterity as priests. Acts 19. 24. Seen in retrospect, this was an early indication that God had in mind a superseding of the old arrangement of familial priesthood by means of a priesthood of Aaron's house. Under the law covenant, when the Israelites were in slavery in Egypt, Jehovah sanctified to himself every firstborn son of Israel at the time that he destroyed Egypt's firstborn in the 10th plague. Acts 12. 29. New 3. 13. These firstborn ones accordingly belonged to Jehovah, to be used exclusively in special service to him. God could have designated all of these firstborn males of Israel as the priests and caretakers of the sanctuary. Instead, it suited his purpose to take male members of the tribe of Levi for this service. For this reason he permitted the nation to substitute the Levite males for the firstborn males of the other 12 tribes, the offspring of Joseph's sons Ephraim and Manasseh being counted as 2 tribes. In a census there proved to be 273 more firstborn non-Levite sons from a month old and upward than there were Levite males, so God required a ransom price of 5 shekels $11 for each of the 273, the money being turned over to Aaron and his sons. New 3. 11-16. 40-51. Prior to this transaction Jehovah had already set apart the male members of the family of Aaron of the tribe of Levi as constituting the priesthood of Israel. New 1. 1. 3. 6-10. For a long period of time Israel had the exclusive opportunity to supply the members of a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Acts 19. 6. But that opportunity ceased to be exclusively theirs because of the national rejection of God's Son. Compare Mount 21. 43. 1 Pe 2. 7-10. Initially, Israel's king was Jehovah. Later Jehovah directed that the kingship be vested in the line of David. Jehovah was still their invisible king, but used the Davidic line as his representatives, as to textoi acute miritra longo, priest 684 be physically sound and of normal appearance. Otherwise he could not approach the altar with offerings, and he could not come near to the curtain between the holy and most holy compartments of the tabernacle. Such a one was entitled, however, to receive support from the Tad and could partake of the holy things provided as food for the priesthood. La 21. 16-23. The age for entering upon the priesthood is not specifically stated, although the census of the Kohathites, taken at Mount Sinai, included those from 30 to 50 years old. New 4. 3. The service of the Levites at the sanctuary began at age 25, reduced in King David's time to 20. New 8. 24. 1 ch 23. 24. Retirement of non-priestly Levites from obligatory service at the sanctuary was at 50 years, but there was no retirement provided for priests. New 8. 25, 26. See retirement. Maintenance. The tribe of Levi was not given a block of land as an inheritance, but they were scattered in Israel, receiving 48 cities in which to live with their families and cattle. 13 of these cities went to the priests. G 49. 5, 7. Jos 21. 1-11 One of the cities of refuge, Hebron, was a priestly city. Jos 21. 13 The Levites received no region as a tribal inheritance because, as Jehovah said, I am your share and your inheritance in the midst of the sons of Israel. New 18. 20 The Levites did the assigned work of their ministry and maintained their houses in the pasture grounds of the cities allotted to them. They would also care for other land that the Israelites might devote to sanctuary use. Law 27. 21, 28 Jehovah provided for the Levites by arranging for them to receive a tithe of all the produce of the land from the other 12 tribes. New 18. 21-24 Of this tithe, or tenth, the Levites were, in turn, to give a tenth of the very best as a tithe to the priesthood. New 18. 25-29. NE 10. 38, 39 The priesthood would thereby receive 1% of the national produce, enabling them to devote all their time to their assigned service of God. This provision for the priesthood, though abundant, was in contrast to the luxury and financial power attained by the priesthood of pagan nations. In Egypt, for example, the priests owned portions of the land G 47. 22, 26 And by crafty maneuvering eventually were the richest and most powerful men in Egypt. James H. Breasted, in A History of the Ancient Egyptians 1908, pages 355, 356, 431, 432, records that during the so-called 20th dynasty the pharaoh was reduced to a mere puppet. The priesthood had possession of the Nubian Gold Country and the great province of the Upper Nile.